Hey America, how you doing? This is Antonio Arnold. How are you today? And thank you so much for joining in, guys, fellow patriots, fellow warriors, fellow veterans. We're living in a time, and also fellow saints, we're living in a time that we're on the edge of a big explosion of change. We're right now on the edge that things are not going to be looking good. And the reason I say that because of the things that have transpired in the last 20 years. But what I really want to focus on is this SB 16 assault firearm and certain firearm magazine prohibiting sales, transport, etc. penalty that Virginia governor and the Democratic Party that have taken over the Senate and the House of Representatives and the Commonwealth of Virginia. So that the assembly of the Virginia Assembly is now one-sided. It is now far to the far left instead of a balance between the two, but a far left, more socialistic with ideas. I'm very concerned as an American citizen. I'm very concerned as a soldier, an airman, veteran. I'm very concerned as a pastor, who have been a pastor. So, just a little bit about myself, guys. I'm a guy that you have known that's not very special, that don't have a lot of accolades, don't have a lot of, not very well known, but loves this country. I had an opportunity, guys, as you can see, I served in the United States Army, airborne qualified infantry, 38 Bravo, silver affairs, civil engineers, you name it. I've been there. Logistic, water treatment, water purification. I've done so for lots of jobs, and I've also been an officer in the Army, infantry officer, 11 Alpha. So I have a little great deal of experience, but I did not just serve in the Army. I served in the Air Force as well. Let me go ahead and take this off. I'm just proud of my cert for God giving me the opportunity. I thought I took care of that. To serve. There we go. And there's my Air Force hat. There we go. Boom. You see that? Been a staff sergeant on both sides of the house, the Army and Air Force, and also been an officer in the Army. Been a pastor as well. Pastor at a Baptist church, been an associate pastor in the Baptist church, Southern Baptist denomination. Serve as a pulpit supply pastor for the Presbyterian USA right here in Virginia, and particularly in Petersburg. Nothing to hide, nothing to run from. I'm all being transparency to let you know, hey guys, I'm one of you. I've been there. Hey, I've been there, with the struggles. I've been there with some success. I've been there serving my country, served civil service as well. Been a federal officer for the Department of Department of Justice, which is the Department of Bureau of Bureau of Prison. Served in the Bureau of Prison for 3 years, guys. But all that is not important. We could talk about my accolades or my credentials and my degrees a little bit later. But what I really want to talk about tonight, guys, I had an opportunity to witness some brothers and sisters of mine who have the courage to go to, and the stamina to go to city of Richmond, our state capital, and air their concerns. Why are we so concerned? Why? It's right in front of you. You got SB 16 assault rifles, firearms, certain firearm magazine prohibited sales and transport. It says basically in a summary, I'm just going to pull this up. You'll find this in the Virginia Legislative Information System. You just you can Google it. You can say lis.virginia.gov, and it will share some information with you guys. This right here says basically bottom line, and this has been a great push ever since what happened. It's always amazed me. Every time there was a shootout by a deranged individual, we want to blame firearms. You want to blame firearms for it and say, well, you can't have an assault rifle, you can't have a pistol gun, you can't even have a BB gun for all that matters coming. You might tell me I can't have a bow and arrow or a sword, because these are tools that don't kill people. It's the people that kills people. People who are not in the right state of mind kills people. A person who is not even trained, who just want to go off in an emotion, will kill people. People kills people. There's people being killed all over the place with knives. There's people being killed with drugs. There's people being killed with poison. People being hit. Oh, you can take a rock and throw it from a. Oh, I'm not going to tell you where to do it, but you can take a rock and throw it at somebody, bust them right side of the head, and kill them. There's so many tools to kill people. I mean, what's next? You know, we got to start making changes in our amendments. We got to start making changes in our Constitution, and this become a socialist state. I don't want that. I'm a patriot. I love my country. I want to keep it like it is. But right here, it says right here, prohibiting sales, transport, assault firearms. Now, what is an assault firearm? Please tell me. There's only one kind of firearm that's a firearm, whether it be semi-automatic or just regular, pump action. Because firearms do not assault. Soldiers assault. Unless it has an M in front of it, it's not military grade, ladies and gentlemen. I served in the military 18 and a half years, and I know the difference between a military grade and a non-military grade. Okay, there's a difference. Okay, come on now. Certain firearm magazine penalty expanded to definition: assault firearm prohibited. Any person from importing, selling, transferring, manufacturing, that's going to put a lot of people out of work right there. Purchasing, possession, see, there's that key word, possession. I want to highlight that too. Transporting or an assault firearm. Man, I was transporting dummy rifles for training. I guess, and I had to have an order that allows me to transport it through within this Commonwealth of Virginia years ago when I was a lieutenant. A violation is a Class 6 felony. The bill prohibits the dealers from selling, renting, trading, transferring from his inventory any assault rifle. Then again, see, we're talking about what is an assault rifle again. You know, they're really smart about this when they won't try to word it. To any person. A bill also prohibited a person from carrying a shotgun with a magazine. Guys, oh man, you might well just keep it locked up and let the burglar break in, or you don't have no sport. Magazine that will hold more than 7 rounds and the longest ammunition for which it is chambered in a public place under existing law. This prohibition applies only to certain localities. Well, Petersburg can say, well, you can't have guns, period. Only the law enforcement. And that's just ridiculous. The bill makes it a Class 1 misdemeanor to import, sell, barter, transfer any firearm. I mean, that's just one, man. That's just one of many. You know, it's crazy. You know, I remember when the Brady bill first came out, once Reagan was shot, was nearly assassinated, but he lived. Thank God for that. And Brady, who was brain injured because he was shot in the head, you know, the guy used a pistol, a revolver, and we had to have there was a mass push for gun control. There was a mass push for Democrats to say we got to have gun control. We need better people control. That's what we need. We need mental health services. We need more money put in mental health services. There's a lot of folks walking on time bombs because they're not getting the treatment and the care they need. We talk about health care with women. What about health care for American, for everybody? You know, you're talking about right to choose, but that's another conversation too. You're talking about right to kill. But anyway, that's another murdering conversation. But anyway, guys, what I have here is the American Patriot Handbook. It has the Constitution in here. It has the Bill of Rights in here. It has a great deal of information in this book. I bought this book years ago because my eyes been open. You know, I've been in the Matrix and I woke up. So this book is a great book. It does have, of course, I have these little things that help me guide me through. But I want to share with you guys our amendment rights and what will happen if we lose this amendment right. Okay. Now, the Second Amendment, very simple. First of all, we got the First Amendment. I also have it in my book. I published 3 books, guys. Just want to share that with you real quick. I'm a publisher. I'm an author. These are 3 books I published. This book has the First Amendment of the Constitution breakdown for the Commonwealth of Virginia and the United States. Okay, because I live in Virginia. Norfolk Carolina have something similar. This is also a book that I sell. Appreciate your support, if any, because I'm going to try to do stuff to have these talking points all the time. Not just on religious bounds, but also freedom of religion, talk about freedom of religion, freedom of speech. You know, this is my time when I was serving in Katrina, New Orleans. I was an Air National Guardsman. You know, also served in the Air Force, Air National Guard. Loved it. I was in utilities, but great experience, you know. But this book also has, you know, the Constitution as stated. I typed it word for word. I make sure that's in there, and it covers what rights we have. Guys, you need to know what your rights are. As an American citizen, you should know what your rights are. As saints of God, fellow Christian brothers and sisters, or saints of God, you should know your rights are. I don't care what the color of your fur. We all brothers and sisters. This hate stuff that the enemy is producing is separating and dividing us, and they're making fools out of us, and that needs to stop. So let's read our Second Amendment rights, guys. And again, guys, those who were in Virginia today, early in the morning, cold. I couldn't get up there, but I'm rest assured, in your future I will. But I just want to salute you guys. You're a lot of your fellow brothers of veterans and the Air Guard, the Army Guard, Air Force, Army, and Army Reserve in that order. So, and Navy and Marines, we thank you. Second Amendment right. First of all, let's read it. The First Amendment says, Congress shall not make no law respecting an establishment of a religion, prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging of the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the rights of the people peacefully to assemble, and to petition the government to readdress the grievances. All right, let's address one or two things. Okay, they're prohibiting this establishing of religion. The government is not going to. It's not the job of the federal government or the state government to establish a religion. That's what Great Britain did. That's where they have the Church of England. You know, the Queen is the Pope, as you would say, is equal to the Pope. And the United States is smart enough not to encourage that, but at the same time, does not prohibit assembly, does not prohibit free speech, free exercise of religion, no matter what your religion is, you know, whatever it is. Okay, that's just the thing. We're prohibited from doing that. You have the right to worship. Your right to say, in God, you know, I believe we have in God we trust, you know, and that still should be on everything. So, you know, say what you want. If you don't agree, that's fine. But freedom of speech, you have a freedom. I serve our country so you can have freedom of speech. Okay, to protect your right to free speech. In other parts of the world, they don't have that, ladies and gentlemen. Any speaking word that's done like a peaceful assembly, it gets squashed quick. Try that in China, Korea, North Korea, South Korea itself, or any other place. Go on Facebook and exercise your free speech, and at the same time put some crazy content against the government and see what happens. You have somebody knock on your door. So, and some beautiful silver bracelets to wear. All right, peacefully assemble. Now, let's talk about peaceable assembly. Now, this was done, and I just want to share this. I hope I can share this right here in Richmond, Virginia. So I'm going to play this news cap for you to let you know these guys, and including some of my fraternal brothers, came in peace. They didn't come out here to start trouble.
Demonstrators that packed the Capitol grounds where guns were banned to protest the package of potential new gun laws.
13 News Now reporter Evan Watson has more from inside Capitol Square.
22,000 people later, and state lawmakers now have a decision to make. Does this protest make a big enough wave to sway votes? or will they respond to the results of the November election? Inside the Capitol gates, protesters repeated the last phrase of the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed. They say proposed gun reform laws in Virginia would restrict their rights.
We're opposed to all of it because it only affects law-abiding citizens because it's a law.
That's right.
Criminals, by definition, don't follow the law.
The Capitol grounds didn't fill up in the first hours of lobby day. Instead, protesters decided to stay on the side streets, blaming Governor Northam's temporary weapons ban on Capitol grounds. Some said they felt more comfortable on the outskirts.
And you see people out in the gates with all kinds of tactical gear, firearm. No one feels threatened here because it's just a comfortability type of thing.
But by 11, about 6,000 people entered through security gates to attend a formal rally. It was led by the Virginia Citizens Defense League, the same group that organized Second Amendment resolution votes in cities and counties across the Commonwealth. One of the speakers, York-Pocosin Sheriff Danny Diggs.
But being here today is part of the struggle, and we are committed to winning that struggle.
Security teams watched thousands of people from the rooftops, while protesters wrapped themselves in "Don't Tread on Me" flags.
They're just ordinary people that just want to defend themselves, and I think that's really the message that gun owners and advocates really try to get out there.
After driving up from Virginia Beach, Emerson Conrad and his wife Lois wondered if their activism would be enough.
Well, what happens here, if it's not stopped, will spread to the rest of the country.
In Richmond, Evan Watson, 13 News Now.
Okay. Let's stop that for a moment. All right. Let's stop that. Let's stop. All right. Okay. I know there's another video coming up, loading, so I'm not going to allow that to play at this point. Come on, stop. All right. You see, there's a lot of activity that took place this morning right in my home state of Virginia, which I'm so super concerned. And they got to make a decision to either infringe on our rights or do the right thing. Okay. I pray that these senators, the House, these representatives make the right decision and the right choice, because I don't want to be in the end of a barrel when somebody telling me to hold my hand, we're going to do search. And speaking of search and seizure, here's another part of the Constitution that protects us excuse me, from search and seizure. All right, let me move over here. Now, the Fourth Amendment specifically states, because this law also can affect how police do search and seizure. Law-abiding citizen will not break the law. But why pass legislation that would infringe on law-abiding citizens? Fine, if a guy's unlawfully brandishing a firearm or using any type of firearm, or knife, or BB gun, or a rock or a hammer to cause harm, yes, you by all means take that item from them, or whatever it takes. Or if that person is suspected of participating in terrorist activities, whether it be foreign or domestic, you do a search and seizure. Make sure you have what is required from a judge to do a search, like a search warrant. So here's this, Amendment number 4. It says the right of the people to be secure in their person, house, papers, and effect against unreasonable search and seizure shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued, but upon probable causes, ladies and gentlemen, supported by oath or affirmation, and particular describe the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. It's very specific, guys. It's right here in the Constitution. So you can't get no better than that. It's perfectly cleared. And I'm quite sure there's a lot more that goes into the details. But, I mean, this book got it. It has it, you know. You can't go wrong. You know, this where this old... Now, what I'm showing you, I got Ralph, Virginia Governor Ralph Northern. He speaks on gun violence. This particular material comes from USA Today. I do not own the information, but I want to just share that video clip with you. Okay? This is for educational purpose, not to make a profit. All right? So, here it is.
It is wrong that we now view these mass shootings as the normal. In fact, it is wrong that we view gun violence in general as the new normal. Tragic mass shootings, they draw our attention, but shootings happen in our communities every day. A 15-year-old boy was shot and killed in Norfolk on Sunday. A little girl was shot and killed at a cookout in Richmond on Memorial Day weekend. 4 people were shot, 1 killed in Portsmouth this past weekend. It is past time to change it.
Now let's stop right there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's stop right there. Let's have a conversation. He touched on a lot of the emotional topics. You know, a little girl, a young boy was shot, and there was nobody to protect him. Here, a deranged individual got a hold of a firearm, and of course, he didn't go over the detail what that was, a legally registered firearm. I want you to understand something. When someone commits a crime, they normally use a firearm that is hot on the streets, stolen, or somehow they got their hands on it, most likely it's stolen, or they haven't registered, okay? And the law, you know, there's laws already in the book in regards to guns and firearms in general. But what I'm seeing here is a step that's going to lead us to what Hitler has done in Germany and Austria. He provided free health care, free education. You know, that's the same thing everybody else is offering. You know, free rights of a woman, provided she keeps the child, you know, one particular child, and do the way that the child doesn't look, you know, conform or normal in their eyes. You know, they do abortions in Germany. But also, hey, free. They say we'll give you free speech as long as it's not for against the government. So, what Germany has done is put out there and plans, and I'll show you that too later on. Maybe I can do that now. I'm not sure. An opportunity for their citizens, and especially Austria, after they done, acquired Austria, and giving the people the opportunity to turn in their weapons. So they did. They turned in thousands of weapons and made it easy for Hitler to affirm control. He giving you all these things for school, these Boy Scout, these Scout clubs, these activity for the youth. He giving you all this new infrastructure for the government, put money into the police and also the military. And guess what? He took your firearm and then he slams you into the concentration camp. He tell you can listen to a radio, but one particular station that offers music, but also his speech. And no other radio station. There goes your free speech. Then he's going to tell you who to worship, not to worship a religion. He's going to tell you no religion at all. So he's going to close down your churches. Time is repeating itself. Guys, you got to learn history. You got to learn, take a civics class. Take a civics class. Learn about your Constitution. Learn about how your system of government is set up. From your judicial system, your executive system, your also congressional system, your Congress, your executive branch, your congressional branch, and your judicial branch. Learn what they are and what their purpose are, because we got a great republic. We're living in a great republic. This is not a democratic public. This is a republic. Okay, let's get that first and foremost. This is a republic. It's not a democracy. We just do things in a democratic way, because pure democracy is Greece. You can see where Greece is now. But anyway, And that was back in over 4,000 years ago. So the Constitution protects citizens from unauthorized, from people like Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Mussolini. It protects us from people who got a mentality like Genghis Khan or even Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il and the premiers of China. The people do not have guns in those countries. In Great Britain, the average citizen does not own a firearm. In New Zealand, the average citizen do not own a firearm. In Australia, the average citizen does not own a firearm. But you can rest assured they got plenty of stabbing going on over there. Okay? How can you protect yourself if someone brandishing a weapon and breaks in your house or break into your church and try to shoot up the place? And yes, this just happened in Texas. And yes, some people who have registered firearms took care of business and saved lives. What's the problem here, America? Guns do not kill. It's the people who are behind the gun. It takes a certain amount of per square inch of pressure to squeeze the trigger. That means you have to aim a weapon with a projectile in it to fire. Same way you pull the string for an arrow. The same way you pick up a hammer and hit a person with it, knock them upside the head until their head crack. A rock, a stone, a plywood. There's so many. You can take a shovel and beat someone upside the head. Because the shovel itself does not beat a person upside the head or bury the person. It takes muscle and a human being with intelligence to do it. And I'm not advocating, guys, please do not get me wrong, that I'm a minister of the gospel. I'm a minister of the gospel of peace. That's why I do not carry one. But I do support the Constitution. And I do not advocate gun violence, knife violence, stake violence, or what do you call that thing I was talking about? Shovel violence, broom violence, rake violence, 2x4 violence. I don't advocate taking a bottle of whiskey and wine or whatever and bust upside the head and stab them with the broken glass. I'm not about that either. And I'm definitely not about the very basic violence called fist to fist, the fist of fury. So let's do some common sense, guys. I mean, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a politician. I never took political science for a living. I'm a soldier who loves his country. I'm an airman who loves his country. I'm a minister who loves his country. I'm a regular Joe who loves his country. Regardless of the flaws, there's nothing better than the United States. I don't care where you're from. We think people trying to get over here because this republic is better. It's not about your last name or your race. It's not about who you come from or what tribe you're from. It's about who you are and what you can do. Okay? You can determine your wealth or poverty. Oh, you born in poverty? You could be the multi-millionaire by applying some effort. And many people have done so. So, let's continue. I want to talk about the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment guarantees protection to all citizens. I don't understand why people tell me that you're only a citizen for a little while. And that's not true. All citizens. This was ratified in July 28, 1968. Okay? 1968. All right? 14th Amendment adopted by the 39th Congress, held in 1866, was ratified by more than 3/4 of the vote states and made as part of the Constitution July 28, 1968. This is right after the Civil War, after the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing and abolishment of slavery in the United States. Thank you. Thank God. Thank you, Lord. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any laws which shall abridge the privilege or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any persons of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. Now, that's coming from the book. I'm just reading from the book. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an interpreter of the law. That's their job. However, it is what it says. It's right here in black and white. You should have some knowledge of your rights so you can make decisions and know where you can get legal help if you find yourself where your rights is being abridged. I'm very passionate, ladies and gentlemen, about this. I'm very passionate because these guys really put some thoughts to this. And I'm so glad they did. I am so glad that we have the Electoral College, that no higher state population can determine the destiny of the rest. It gives everybody, every state, an equal playing field when it comes to voting. Do your research, America. Come on. So as we sit here and as you have listened in from a patriot to a patriot who loves his or her country, I beseech you to stand for the Constitution. I took an oath in 1984 to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic. I still live by that oath. I still stand on that oath. Even as a federal officer, I took an oath. Even as a state officer, I took an oath. For the state of Virginia and for the United States of America and all its territories, I took an oath. Many of you have taken an oath. And many of you have to stand up, stop being on the by and by, and stop saying, well, it doesn't affect me, because it will affect you. It will affect you big time. All it takes is one amendment to be removed or amended. And when you know hear the word amended, it means to change. And if they can change the Second Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, may God have mercy on all of us. And that's the truth, guys. I do not want this country to become a socialist country. Socialism, communism don't work. It is not true equality. It is not true economic platform. It is not fair. It's really anti-entrepreneur because it'll do away with entrepreneurship. It will definitely put you under the wrath of a dictatorial government. It will also, and not even for fascism, because fascism is racism in its purity. Adolf Hitler proved it, and so did Mussolini. And so did I can't remember the name, when Spanish had a civil war, they went fascism too. Because Germany supported them. They're a kingdomship now. But back in the 30s, Spain became a fascist country. They just stayed neutral out of the war. There was fascism all over the country, all over the world. Fascism even in Africa, because Mobutu kills people. You got in Zimbabwe, fascism going on there. You have fascism in South Africa. But that's another, I'll leave that to you experts, the rest of the conversation. But that's how it was. And because every time, and again, every time there's a shooting, there's guys shooting folks with just a pistol. There's people being killed by stabbing. Where I'm from, kids been shot. Not by AR-15, not by what their so-called assault rifle, but pistols. Unregistered. There's nobody that said it were registered by drug dealers. So what do? You better stand against this thing right here. Because I'm going to tell you also, there are other states getting into the program, and they're watching New Virginia. They're watching us. So if you're looking for a red flag state, you can look at New York State. You can look no further than Massachusetts. New Jersey has a red flag. Maryland, of course, and Delaware. Let's go to the south. Is a red flag state. Florida. There's one. Colorado is a red flag state. Iowa and Indiana is a red flag state. You know, and you guys a whole bunch trying to lean that direction, guys. So it's a nationwide problem, and I'm not surprised. Yes, Hawaii is a red flag state too. California, Washington State. I don't know what this other state here is, but guys, we got a problem. Oregon, Maryland, Vermont. Yeah, here it is. Colorado, Florida. Connecticut, Indiana, District of Columbia. They got gun violence problem, but it's not from majority is not from law-abiding citizens. It's from unlaw-abiding citizens. Yes, your gangbangers, your mentally ills, your swastika lovers. They are the ones. They're the enemies. They're your enemies, not law-abiding citizens. They're not me, guys. But definitely, we definitely living in the last evil days and the last bit of history because there's so much corruption going on. This is just one of the things I'll probably talk about. This look at here. Look here. All this right here is against you. Okay? Once they take the guns, your weapons, your pistols, your rifles, your hunting rifles, whatever the case may be, they can come after you, just come to you anytime. A burglar or a gangbanger can break in your house, home invasion, you have no protection, or you may have your butter knife, and guess what? You're done. Stand up and protect your family. I'm a firm supporter, and you rest assured I will protect mine. Don't let these liberals destroy our country. And if you are the ones who is responsible for destroying our country, all I can say, I'll pray for you. I'm going to pray for you. Lord, have mercy on you. Make that change. Think about your rights. You supporting this. And a lot of guys supported the Bolshevik Revolution and end up in where? At the Gulag. And if you don't know what a Gulag is, look it up. A Gulag is no joke in Siberia. In Siberia, Russia. Everybody thought they was doing great. And then when the communists took over the Bolshevik Revolution, and then the communists took over that and kicked out the whites, and I'm talking about those who want their kingdom and want freedom, they kicked them out. They took over. The Red Army won. The White Army lost. That was it. I don't want to see our country divided to such a way, because it's divided as heck, and broached into a civil war. Part 2. Hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children lost their lives back in the 1800s, 1865, okay? 1861, 1865. I hate to see that, but this might be the Fort Sumter that get us all started. And I pray it doesn't. Guys, keep your peace, keep calm, keep your emotions under control unless something happens. But in the meantime, guys, I'm praying that you pray with me that all people will come together and stand together for their Second Amendment right, and beseech every governor and every state that I just mentioned to do the right thing. Stand with the Constitution. Do not take this into another level where we lose the basic privileges that we enjoyed. Okay? United we stand, divided we fall. We got a problem in our borders. Lord help us. If we divide them into a civil war, There'll be massive folks coming here to take advantage of us through the borders and through the gateways at our ports. I'm first, and also one last thing, I am a firm supporter, don't get me wrong, of legal immigration. I don't care what you call it. What happened 500 years ago ain't got nothing to do with today. Whatever happens, 100 years ago, it had nothing to do with today. But I'm gonna tell you something. If you don't do rationalize it right, you're gonna repeat those 100 years. You're gonna repeat those 500 years. Okay? This is our home. I'm Native. I'm a Native American because I was born here. You are Native American because you were born here. I'm not a Native American Indian, but I'm definitely a Native American because my family been here since over 100 years. Got me? Got it. And guys, please support my book. We are living in the finished work of Christ. And of course, if you want to see a full detail of the Constitution, state and federal, it's right here. First Amendment rights is very important to me because without the First Amendment, we have no religious freedom. And that's very important. You take the guns out, you take our way of defending ourselves out, then you're going to take our religions. Then you're going to take first of all, you're going to take our freedom of speech. You're going to take our religion, and then you're going to take our citizenship away. And it's going to be a communist takeover of just like China, Russia, the former Soviet Union, and everywhere else there's calamity. Guys, God bless you. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for hearing me. And I'm going to play this one last tape here. And this is something I recorded a few hours ago this morning.
Look, we've got huge crowds. It's just starting to wind down, so we're starting to see
22,000 Americans assembled in downtown Richmond, right at the Capitol building site, to let these politicians know that the people is watching and standing for freedom. There you go. For the First Amendment right. The Second Amendment rights.
Including some local legislators. Senator Chase from Midlothian, who's been very outspoken about gun rights, as well as Nick Freitas, who's now running for Congress, speaking as well. We've also had a number of speakers here today who came in from different states, Texas, Arkansas, all over the country, really underscoring the message that to them this issue is much larger than the 8 gun control measures that were put forth by the governor. They really feel this is about the larger issue of Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms, because they feel that if that right is infringed upon, that it is
what's next?
Our other rights.
That's right. The 14th Amendment will be next.
So that is why we are seeing people coming in from all over the country.
And there's a lot of blacks out there too. Don't trip.
It's been a
lot of my frat brothers out there.
Huge concerns.
They own AR-15.
That's why we have the gun ban in place. And
that's fine.
That's why we've had state police helicopters around the area. There have been police.
And it's been peaceful.
All over the ground, keeping everybody safe.
Unlike CNN with their lying narratives.
There were 3 people that the FBI.
Stop watching CNN.
White supremacist group.
Get that butt out of here.
But so far today has been peaceful and calm.
Amen.
We are just now wrapping up this hour-long rally.
A lot of my brothers out there, Scooney.
To express
now almost 10 o'clock. No record of anybody firing weapons or doing anything this year.
Heather Sullivan, NBC 12.
Don't trip.
Yeah, Heather, you don't hear those loud chants of U.S.
And there you go. Computer's on the fricks a little bit, but that's it. It just crashed. That's fine. Guys, remember this guy right here. This is the man who wants to take your rights away. These are people who want to take your rights away. Don't let them do it. Virginia, stand up. Stand up and support me. Hit my website. Show me some love. Please share. Share as many patriots as you can. And yes, patriots comes in many colors, many races, and many intels. All right, with that in mind, this is Antonio Arnold, Airborne, Air Force, Army, and Patriot signing off.